Hello, friends, and welcome to Not Just a Girl, your friendly feminist tattoo podcast. I'm Eddy, and I'm back to share with you the experiences of artists whose practice is having a positive impact on tattooing. On the fourth episode, we'll be discussing painting for fun, respecting tattoo traditions, and running a studio. Before we begin, I would like to acknowledge the Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people whose land was stolen and never ceded. I am honoured to be on the ancestral land of the Awabakal people. I pay respect to the elders, past and present, and extend my recognition to their descendants. My guest today is someone that I have looked up to since before I even started tattooing. I've loved her work and even had printouts of it on the wall above my desk. Her kindness, uniqueness, and respect for the traditions of tattooing are part of why she continues to inspire me. I have the great honour of speaking to Mimsy Gleeson today. Mimsy works at her studio Trailer Trash in Brisbane. Her work, as many of you would know, is probably best described as kawaii traditional. It's all bubblegum and glitter and all kinds of adorable. Thank you so much, Mimsy, for joining me today. It's so good to talk to you.
Hi, Eddy. That was so lovely. Thank you so much. You're amazing.
You know, I'm one of your biggest
I don't know what to say. That was really beautiful, and I love your description of my style because I struggle with that myself. So thank you very much. I'm really stoked to be here.
Aww. Well, I guess we'll start with one of the, probably most common questions, like, how long have you been tattooing and what did you do beforehand that led you to tattooing?
Ooh, yeah, I struggle with this question because when I started tattooing, I didn't even have a mobile phone. So I don't even know, I wish I had a date that I started, but basically I started working in a tattoo shop when I was 20 and I'm 43. The first year was just, answering the phone and cleaning the studio. So it's been over 20 years.
Wow.
What did I do before that? Well, I was only 20, so it wasn't a heap of time to do too much.
Still a baby.
Before. Yeah, well, I felt like it, but I have to say I do know a lot of people who started a lot earlier than that. So to me, I felt like that was really young to start at 20. So I really feel like I grew up in a tattoo studio.
Yeah.
But before that, I tried going to uni. I studied gold and silversmithing at uni.
Oh, wow.
At the Queensland College of Art. And I really only did that because I couldn't get into the course that I wanted to do. I wanted to do fine art, which is just hilarious to me now because obviously that is not my jam. And they knew that. So I did study a little bit at uni. I didn't finish my degree. Was partying a bit too much at that age.
Who wants to be anyway?
Yeah. I think it would have been really valuable. I actually learned a lot when I was there.
That's awesome.
Yeah, but other than that, previous to that, I just did odd jobs. I worked at a screen printing company, and I did a lot of designing for them as well, for their T-shirts.
So you've always circled around creative industry, even before you were in tattooing?
Well, I did a lot of, I was a checkout chick and, I did that kind of, worked at a sandwich bar for a couple of months. But when I could, the working for the screen printing company, I think I was only 17. That was amazing because they put a lot of my designs on their T-shirts. So that really sparked something in me, I suppose. But yeah, definitely. I've always created since I can remember.
Yeah. Oh, that's so interesting that you worked for a screen printer, because you do so much cool merch and stuff now. Like, I've got a whole bunch of your shirts at home, like, and you're always like bringing out like interesting stuff. Like, you did a collaboration with a clothing label as well, didn't you?
Yeah, for a while there, I did a heap of stuff with Sourpuss Clothing, and I loved that collaboration because I love seeing my artwork on clothing, but I am not interested in marketing myself.
Yeah.
I find that business side of things kind of boring. I just want to do the creating and then pass it to someone else. So that company was great to work for because they had they're like a worldwide company, and they're so great at marketing and putting their little labels on everything. So that was super fun. Yeah, I loved doing that. They did dresses and shirts, and shower curtains were really popular. Yes,
that's awesome.
That's when I knew I made it. I made it to a shower curtain.
Your stuff lends itself so well to that rockabilly culture and that style of clothing as well. Like, it's such a perfect match.
Yeah, I hope so. I love that style. I love that that sort of cheesy 90s sort of rockabilly, psychobilly kind of style. So yeah, it was heaps of fun.
That's perfect. That's so good. Like, with your kind of kawaii style that you've come to now, have you always done that, or is that just something you developed over the years? Like, did you always have the cute pink, bubbly, glittery kind of look in your work?
I probably, that's a tough one. I probably always wanted to, but never quite maybe knew how. I've always loved that style. My Bible has always been a book called Hell Babies, by Junko Mizuno. I don't know if you've heard of it.
No.
Anyway, I love that style, but I'm torn because I feel like it's not really taken that seriously. So, but I love that you described my style as kawaii traditional, because I really still do like to have my roots in more of a traditional style as well. I'm torn with that style, but I don't know why I do what I do. There's no thought behind it. It's all impulsive. It's just like, oh yeah, I feel like doing this.
That's perfect though, because then it's really genuine. Like,
there's no method.
Anything you're not.
There is no method to the madness, honestly. Every day I go for a walk and something stupid pops into my head and I'm like, oh yeah, I've got to do this. Or I can't stop myself. Once I get a silly thought in my head, I have to just do it, even if it doesn't work out. So the kawaii, I don't know if I've answered your question. It's always been an influence. But yeah, like I said, I've always really admired people who could mix that kawaii traditional style, like Japanese tattooers, I suppose, would be a good example.
Yeah.
Like someone like Sabado back in the early 2000s was doing all this epic like bodysuit work, but it was also really kawaii, like Japanese style back pieces, but it was just like a giant cat with eyelashes and
oh my god,
cherry blossom. Yeah, so
I can see the traditional Japanese influence in your work, like the way that you do backgrounds and stuff, like the clouds and the waves and all that.
I love Japanese tattooing. That's my favorite style. I don't proclaim to be able to do it or even know really hardly anything about it, but to me, that would be the pinnacle of tattoo style for me, is to treat the body as one canvas, and just big, bold work that's not necessarily anywhere near perfect, but just the overall look of a full body. So I love that style.
It's so amazing. I love when you see a Japanese back piece that's just one subject matter but huge, like a giant koi just across the whole back. It's stunning because it's beautiful from any distance that you look at it.
Yes, yes. That would be the dream.
Hmm.
More back pieces.
I love that back piece you did that had like, was it a back piece? It's like all mermaids and like sea creatures and stuff, or was it a sleeve? I can't remember now. It was like a I'll find a
I
picture.
think I've done a few like that. To be honest, the idea of doing a back tattoo is terrifying at the moment. I might have to wait a while to get back into that.
Yeah, we'll ease back into it slowly. Yeah, I love how you do mix the cute into it. Like when Sophie and I came and got tattooed by you, and you had that entire little flash sheet for us, which I've still got on my wall, with all the little cat things. Like there was a cat banana, and I got a cat lady, and Sophie got the little cat makeup compact.
Thank you, Eddy. It's just silly stuff.
I don't know. Like you say that your stuff's not taken seriously, but I think that there's a really important place for cuteness in tattooing, because I think, you know, now more than ever, women are getting tattooed far more than men. And I don't know, for some women, getting like big, serious, like angry dragons might not be their thing, or like a big angry skull might not be their thing. But if it's something that they feel is like cute and makes them feel beautiful and adorable in their own skin, like that's really powerful for a woman. Like that's, you're doing more than you realize.
That's a good way of looking at it. And I mean, obviously, when it comes to that style, the industry has changed exponentially over the last 10 years. There's so many of us doing that style. I mean, I don't even know if I can say I do that style, because there's so many people that do it way better and like really nail it and do exquisite work in that sort of genre. So I feel like I got to take a step back, because I can't even
Pave the way. You paved the
uh,
way for cute tattoos in Australia.
Thank you, Eddy. You know what? A lot of people have said that to me over the years. And even though I feel obviously really uncomfortable and awkward, I also feel really grateful and proud of the next generations for being able to express that to me. And I accept that now. I feel really honoured, and I feel like that's how I feel about a lot of my peers who are older than me and paved the way for me. So I really appreciate that the younger generation, or the newer tattoo generation, are really respectful of people who've gone before them. So thank you.
That's all right. I think that's a really important part of tattooing, and in some groups it's been lost, like, you know, the good traditions of tattooing and respecting the past and the history and how it's come to be where it is now. Like, if we can't look back with respect, it's really difficult to imagine how we can look forward.
That's what tattooing's all about for me. That is the bottom line. That is everything, is the people who paved the way for me and you. That's our religion. You know, this is, you know, these, if you don't have that, yeah, you're right, you've got nothing. So I agree.
Yeah. I remember another thing, like, because I've always picked that up from watching you just like online and just from following you and being a fan, like how much respect you have for the past. But I remember the first time I ever met you in person, when I guested with you like a million years ago now. But you told me that, you know, like to have a good, successful tattoo career, it's not about like fame or likes or followers. It's all about like the customers and those regular customers who come back to you and showing them respect and being kind to them. And that's always stuck with me, because our careers are made on those people, and without them we have nothing. And I think like that's a really important thing as well, like that kindness to our clients.
Yeah, well, that's really cool that you still think of that. probably my horrible voice haunting your brain. But I do say that, and I say that to any, tattoo apprentice or anything. The first 10 years of tattooing, I was terrible, at least. And sometimes I still am, to be honest. But the thing that's always gotten me through is just the connection to my customers, being super kind and polite and just the utmost respect for everyone that walks in the door, if they're showing it to you, of course. That is everything, is to treat each person like they are the most important part of your life when they're in your tattoo chair. So even though, oh my God, I've done so many terrible tattoos, but those people in those beginning years, a lot of those customers, most of them still come in and get tattooed by me because we have that connection. You become family. Yeah, I strongly feel that. Once I've tattooed you, you're in my fold. You're in my circle.
Yeah. It's more than just a customer for sure, like, because you're spending prolonged periods of time with them. Like, it's much more intimate and you actually get to know them as people.
Yeah, definitely. And that's why I don't have any friends. Because I just don't really need them. I get that interaction with my clients, they become my friends. So that can be a bit dangerous, actually. For me, I tend to lose social skills in the outside world because I get that from my clients. Yeah.
It's so funny how, like, tattooers, like, are so used to just, like, in the tattoo shop and interacting with clients and colleagues a certain way that in the real world we're just like, I don't know, it's like there's normies and then there's us.
Yeah, well, I don't so much feel that, but I definitely feel hermit life. And being in isolation for 2 months, it's not a stretch for me. I love it. I don't really feel like I miss social life or going out or anything like that. I want more time. It's never enough time for me. I want to paint more.
You've been painting mad.
Yeah, but it's not enough. Yeah, it's all I can think about. Honestly, it's all I want to do.
That's amazing. But, like, you can do that. You don't have to tattoo all the time as well. You can just paint if you want to.
Yeah, well, it's been a really interesting experiment because I've always wondered if I could make a living off my art. I did that again.
Don't do that. No quotation marks. It's art.
Well, I've always wondered that, and it turns out at the moment I probably could. I don't really feel like I need to go back to tattooing as extreme as I was. But I can't because I have to get up every 20 minutes and make my teenage kids food. And they're pretty good, honestly, but it's hard because I get interrupted a lot. So I'm glad that they're going back to school in 2 weeks.
It must be hard, like, being a business owner, being an artist, being a tattooer, and being a mom, as well as a partner, all in one thing, and then just being stuck in isolation with all of these different hats you have to wear all at once.
I have a really amazing husband who pretty much just does everything for me and allows me to just function like a toddler most of the time.
Tony's so lovely.
Oh, yeah, he really just, we're a team like that. So he is so supportive of my art that he just allows me to create all day long, and he runs around and does all the errands and
perfect.
all the boring, like, business stuff. That's all him, to be honest.
That's awesome.
I do take the lead more so on managing the people at the studio that I run. I know that's not specifically what you asked, but I think it's interesting to note, and you might be able to relate to this. I think it's really important that the person managing the people in your studio is also a tattooer.
Yeah,
or
I
at least
agree.
or at least has been,
Yeah.
or is very strongly, passionately connected to tattooing.
Yeah. Well, you
So
can't
yeah,
really understand how they feel unless you've been in their shoes, because, you know, like, I think maybe sometimes from an outsider perspective, you might think, oh, they're just a bunch of babies. Like, but when you're in their shoes and you feel that pressure and stress, you can understand where artists come from with certain behaviors or things they do. So it's maybe a bit easier to have empathy and to approach it in a way that they can understand.
And I'm sorry because I did just change the subject that you asked me,
No.
but but I've always felt like it's really important as someone who runs a studio to be on the front line with your crew, with your co-workers. Always, I'm not a boss. I'm a co-worker. I'm on the front line, and that's why, as tempting as it has been over the years to not tattoo as much, I feel like it's really important to keep that connection and to be there most days alongside them on the same level, doing the same stuff, getting in there, cleaning, whatever. You know, you can't be, there's got to be someone running the studio that is here with everyone, you know.
Yeah, I agree 100%. And I think artists appreciate that too. Like, for myself, having worked in studios where it was a clear cut, I'm the boss, you do what I say, you're less because you're a tattooer and you work for me and you rely on me. It's kind of like, it feels a little bit belittling, but when you work with someone who's also an artist, they understand you, you can communicate to each other, like, and you don't feel like they're better than you, like you're just learning together. It's so much like, I think it's a better creative environment as well.
Yeah, it's a co-op. We're all in it together. And I really think it's the only way it could work nowadays anyway. The industry is too competitive. You know, your artists could just go and work at their home and register their business at home. So what's in it for them if they're going to be, you know, treated like they're not on the same level, you know?
Yes, absolutely.
But I didn't really answer your question. You were talking about all the hats and being a mum and stuff. Yeah, I guess I could say, you know, my kids are 13 and 15, so they're really self-sufficient.
That's awesome.
They just want to be in their bedrooms playing video games or watching trashy YouTube anyway. But they've really grown up with me being absorbed in my work. And I do have a lot of mum guilt about that, which I'm sure you've probably sort of touched on that subject with other artists before as well. But a lot of other people I've gotten feedback about that seem to think that might benefit them later on, being influenced or having a mum who is really self-motivated and focused on, you know, providing for my family. Hopefully that will translate to them as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And the fact that you and Pony are able to like work together as like parents and business partners, I think that sets a really good example as well for children, that, you know, it's got nothing to do with gender. It's just like people doing what they do best and working together with their skills to create an outcome.
Yeah, it's quite awesome for Biz and Lula because there are no gender roles in our relationship. Apart from doing the washing, Pony does all of that. But yeah, no, we don't. Yeah, Pony's always been the Mr. Mum. Like ever since they were little kids, he was the one who took them to kindy every day and hung out with the other mums, and he joined the PNC. I was never on the PNC. He became the treasurer, I think he was, of the PNC when they were in primary school, and used to hang out with the other mums. And when my kids were really young, my daughter got sick, and we both decided that I would go to work tattooing and that he would look after my daughter. So that was a role reversal because he was full-time dad and I was full-time work, but he was still working in the business as well. So yeah, that was a bit of a role reversal at the time. I think things have changed a lot now in the world, and there's a lot more dads doing that nowadays,
which is amazing.
It's amazing, and there's no need for that. You know, it's the ebb and flow. You know, because one day that the balance could change. It doesn't matter, male, female. It's just about the partnership and helping each other out.
Absolutely. Like that's the rule my husband and I have. It's just like, you know, if I've worked a longer day, he does more of the house stuff and vice versa. Like we always try to meet each other equally and contribute equally to our lives as a whole, but it's never like a fight or an argument. It's just like you do what your part because you're a human and like nothing else matters apart from making sure that your lives run easily.
Yeah. Well, you're very lucky too because you've got an amazing partner as well. So
he's lovely. But
I mean, I can't really see it working any other way, and I feel sorry for anyone who doesn't have that, I suppose, really. To me, it just seems like the norm. I don't really see gender roles or, you know, I don't really see any of that in my world.
Yeah. I think we're really lucky, like, I think especially now in the world we're in where we can just focus more on being humans and on creating equity and not focusing on all that like bullshit that we've been programmed with and just be nice and have a good life.
I hope so. And it's interesting because, you know, you've put together this amazing movement with the Not Just a Girl, you know, starting with the Flash Day and now this podcast. But yeah, for me personally, I feel weird about it because I just don't see it. Like, I guess I'm just in my bubble, and it always shocks me when I meet or see people on TV or anything like that who don't have, you know, gender equality, I suppose. So
we are very, very privileged to be in our little bubble where we are treated with respect and where we're safe. And I think
that is true. Good point.
Yeah. I think, you know, sometimes like that's because that's what we create for ourselves. Like, you know, we do have the privilege of creating that. Not everyone does, but, you know, for myself, I don't allow toxicity into my life because I'm not going to have anything that's going to affect me negatively or get in the way of what I need to do. And for me, my focus is producing art and being happy. So like that's everything in my life is centered around making that happen in a positive way.
You're a very amazing role model when it comes to self-awareness like that, and I think you're really inspiring, and I wonder what's led you to that path and having such a clear vision of what your beliefs are as well.
I've got a strong mum. I've got a very strong mum who, like, from a very young age was just like, you never accept anything less than what you feel you deserve. If you treat other people with kindness and you don't hurt other people, you have a right to like be respected, to be treated with kindness in return, and just like respect yourself enough to demand what you deserve. And that was like the biggest thing. And taking responsibility for everything you do and feel as a human, like, because once you take responsibility, then everything else kind of gets a bit easier to cope with, I think. So I'm very, very lucky that my mother is so strong and has set me up to a point where I can maybe try to do good for others in return.
Amazing. Thank you, Eddy's mum. You created a beautiful human.
Big Don. Yeah, anyway, we got totally off the topic, but that was lovely. I love Mum.
I'm sorry, I do.
It was Mother's Day yesterday, so happy Mother's Day for yesterday, by the way.
Yay! I got Kmart vouchers, so I'm stoked.
Kmart. Didn't you do a Kmart splash sheet one time?
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
I love with your work how it's just like there's a lot of humor in it. Like there's a lot of like sarcasm and irony, and like you're always kind of, even though you're not overly like outspoken about lots of different things, you can always like just get like little hints of humor and like ideas and opinions in your work, but it's in a really like cute and easy to digest way.
Thank you for noticing that. That means a lot to me. What can I say about that? That's my way of coping, I suppose. Yeah, I've never been, I've tried being a little bit of an activist about certain things over the years that I feel strongly about. But I do feel like artists, if anyone who has an audience has a vehicle to affect people.
Yeah.
I don't want to say they have a responsibility to, because I don't know about that. But I do feel like, you know, if I've got an audience, like it's not much, but I have a few people following me on Instagram, or, you know, anyone looking at the piece of paper in front of them, you know, if I can make them think a certain way, that's what it's all about to me. Yeah. I just want to affect people somehow. Like when I go to the cinema and I see a movie, I want to come out of there feeling something.
Yeah.
I don't care what it is. I just want to feel something. So, yeah, to me, I want people to look at my art, and if it makes them have just a little bit of a smile, just even a little bit, I'm like, fuck yeah. or something, or sad, or anything. I just want people to feel something. That's what gives me joy, I suppose.
Yeah. I mean, having a message is inherent in our work. Like you said, anyone who's got an audience, it's just inherent part of it. Even if it's not what you're trying to do, you're still, even if you're not putting a message out there on purpose, it still is impacting people and influencing people in a way. But I think, yeah, your stuff definitely has that happiness, like that joy in it. Like, you know, you did a cute little vegan flash sheet, because I know that veganism's something really important to you. And at first you're like, oh, it's just so cute, all these cute little things. And then you look at it again, you're like, oh, it's like a vegan thing. And like, oh yeah, like, and then it kind of gets that conversation going about those things and those thought processes, which is really good.
I like to sucker punch people, you know, like just shock people a little bit if you can. Just the juxtapose of things, or, yeah, you look at something and you think, oh, that's so beautiful. But then if you look closer, it's actually really disturbing, you know?
Yeah. Like your little COVID drawings you were putting up at the start of isolation. I was losing my shit over
We're
that.
all fucked. We're all fucked. Yeah. I mean, if you don't laugh, you cry, right?
Yeah. Absolutely.
Kind of a helpless feeling where you just got to go, oh, well, I'm just going to do something completely fucking ridiculous because who cares anyway?
Yeah. I think it's cool to let go of that idea of like worrying about what people think and just do something fun and ridiculous, because that's what's going to lead you to something more impactful anyway.
Yes. It's hard sometimes to let yourself, or to get your head around that. But that's, to me, that would be the ultimate goal as an artist, is just to never have a design brief and just take things to as far as you could and further, because you're creating it. There's I mean, I'm talking about, you know, like, not necessarily tattooing, because I guess there are constraints, but you've got the ability to make something look like it's flying, or I don't know, anything. Take it as far as you can if that's what you want to do. You're not confined by anything. So
yeah, we don't have restrictions as artists, really, like when we're creating work for ourselves.
That's the dream.
Yeah. But that's what I feel like for those of us who are privileged in this situation to be able to get like welfare or whatever and live comfortably and not have too many stresses, you know, we can explore those things. And like a lot of the people I've spoken to have realized that, oh, hey, after this, I can actually make time for my art because I realized how important it is in my life and process. And so like coming into this new world after, you know, COVID or whatever, we can still tattoo, but we can still have time for art and be a more full version of ourselves.
I don't know how I'm going to have time to do it all, honestly. I am scared. Yeah, I don't know. It's going to be so weird trying to fit tattooing back into my life.
Yeah.
Because I'm going to have to start slowly, I think.
Definitely. Because I mean, managing artists in itself is a pretty big job.
Yeah, it's definitely a mental sort of thing that's always there, isn't it? It's just always there.
Yeah.
Responsibility. Yeah. I'm not saying it's bad. It's just, you know.
It's different.
Probably been good for everyone to have a little break, right?
Yeah, I think so. I really enjoyed it, actually. Like aspects of it, obviously. But yeah, it's nice to like not be boss for a bit and just be another person who can't tattoo.
Yeah. Well, we're all in the same boat, aren't we? Everyone's, yeah. I can't remember what I was going to ask. You can ask me something because I forgot what I was going to say.
Well, one of the things like I've always wondered about, like, you know, with your studio, like Trailer Trash, it's so iconic. You know, I remember when I first started tattooing, and I think even before when I was going to conventions, you know, your trailer was always the highlight. You had your pink sparkly trailer, the grass, like the fake grass, the little white picket fence, the pink flamingos everywhere. Everything was just like so fun. And it's literally the only thing I remember about conventions, like the Trailer Trash thing. And it was the same when I came to visit your studio when it was at Archerfield Airport, like just how cute it is. Like, was that always the plan, to have this like studio that's literally a whole other world and experience? Or is that just something that came about naturally? Like, yeah, I've always wondered about that.
I think it's a bit of both, to be honest. I'd always wanted a 50s caravan, like obsessively. I needed a 50s caravan, and I had one, I had a couple, and then I realized, I mean, I love that era, and I loved the caravan, and I loved tattooing. Hello.
Yeah.
Hello. Just makes sense, right? It was like, oh my God, it's in front of me. Like this is what I'm meant to do. I was so excited. And then the name, I mean, I don't even know if it's very politically correct, but to me, the name Trailer Trash Tattoo represented the idea of, this is what I am, take it or leave it. Yeah. I'm not saying I'm perfect. I just do me. I do trailer trash tattoos. Like I just do. Like, I'm sorry, I can't be this fine artist that you want, probably. This is just who I am. So it's like, I'm just putting myself out there the way that I am. Take it or leave it. Yeah. So yeah, when I got the trailer and I realized that, and then I found out that I could legally do it. That was pretty exciting. My dream at that point was to tattoo in the trailer full time. And then my dream was to actually own a trailer park where it was all, I know, that was my dream. So then when I started, when I opened the Archerfield studio, we found a warehouse, as you may remember, because you worked there. Yeah. I wanted a warehouse and to set up a trailer park in the warehouse.
So good.
And so the only way I could do that financially was I had three 50s trailers in the warehouse. But then I realized it's not really very comfortable, and no other artist is going to want to do that. So there was a mezzanine level, and I wanted that to overlook the trailer park. That was my dream. I wanted like a panoramic view looking down on the trailer park that was in the warehouse. But of course, the reality was the window that we could cut into that wall was only so big. It wasn't it wasn't a panoramic.
See the trailer park.
You could. So in my mind, it was this, trailer park in a warehouse, and I tattooed in the trailer, and then I had people tattooing on the mezzanine as well, and it was the whole step into my world, like a museum, like a 50s trailer park, all set up, and I'd be all dressed up, and it'd be just the full experience. Yeah, because you can, right? Well, like, who's to tell you what you can and can't do, except for the government, of course.
Yeah. They love to tell you what you can and can't do.
So there was that restriction. So to be honest, that's where my mindset was at. It was just like, wow, I'm going to do this ridiculous thing. And of course, the reality was it got whittled down to the, 3 caravans in a warehouse.
It still worked. It still had its impact.
Yeah, it was, Pony and I, like I was saying before, we took things as far as we could. It was completely impractical. Yeah, and we lasted, I think we were there for 5 or 6 years, which is insane because it was in the middle of nowhere. It was literally in the middle of nowhere. It was ridiculous. And somehow, I don't know how, we attracted all these incredible guest artists like yourself. And I could name 20 other artists. They all wanted to be a part of this from the start. They wanted a piece of this ridiculousness.
It's I feel like it's become a part of Australian tattoo history though. Like just this crazy other world that you created.
I hope so, but I have to admit it's gotten harder now that it's gotten harder for me to preserve that part of myself. But I hope to go back to it in some way.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's not all written. The books aren't closed on that because there's possibility there could be a reinvention some point in my career.
I look forward to seeing that. But it's cool that you're able to just like go with the flow and just work with what you're given as well. Like, you're in a beautiful building now, although you guys haven't had the best year with the fire and everything, but yeah, like you've still always got a beautiful space to work with.
Yeah, well, when we moved there, which is in Annerley, which is about 15 minutes from Brisbane CBD, we were actually looking for a space that was a street shop. And we, of course, Pony and I got carried away by our hearts when we found this old Queenslander building, and we moved into that space, which is where we are now. So it wasn't really the plan, but to be honest, the reason I've evolved in that direction is because of my workmates. I haven't really worked with anyone who particularly really wanted to be in my kawaii bubble. I don't even know if there is anyone else in the world that would want to, because it's a bit weird in there. So the idea with this evolution of Trailer Trash is to include everyone.
Yeah.
So it's not all pink and sparkly and whatever, the studio. It's more inclusive and for everyone's clients as well.
Yeah.
It's still beautiful, and my room that I work in is still pink. But the idea behind this evolution was to respect everyone that I work with in the way that I represent the studio.
Yeah, that's so beautiful. And that's like, I think, a really good example for other studios to follow, that, it's important to be inclusive and not just like focus on your own ideas, but include everyone you work with, because that creates more diversity and invites more people into the space?
Yeah, I always want the people that I get to work with, I always want them to have their own space to create as well. I think that's really important. Even if it's only a wall or a couple of walls or a corner, everyone needs to be able to express themselves because we're artists.
Yeah.
That's how I feel. So we're really lucky, even though we did have, like you were saying, that bit of bad luck at the beginning of the year with our fire. We're really lucky that now we have a space where Swazi and Allegra and I all have our own room, and then we have a whole downstairs level as well. So there's heaps of space for us now, which is going to become really handy because we're all going to have COVID safe plans going forward.
Yeah.
So that's going to be handy for us, even though, like you said, we did experience some bad luck. On the flip side, the positive is now that the studio has been renovated again after the fire, a lot of us can have our own room and we've got heaps of space to spread out.
That's awesome. And you've got such a good team to work with as well. You've always got the most incredible lineup of artists at your studio.
Yeah, we're very lucky. We're very lucky, but also probably not just luck. I'm pretty, how would you say, I'm pretty full on when it comes to first impressions, and also it takes quite a lot for me to completely trust someone.
Yeah.
So when I put someone on full time, you know that I think that they're worthy. Yeah. Because I'm not mucking around. I'm 43. You know, I've been tattooing for over 20 years. If you're not going to take things seriously or, you know, be a good person is the main thing.
Yeah.
That's number one.
Absolutely.
I'm just not mucking around.
Yeah. That's good though. You got to set boundaries. I do the same here. Like, my most important thing is that the person is a kind person who's inclusive and thoughtful and respectful. And then after that, it's their work and how they treat their customer. And then, you know, like a whole array of other things, but everyone has to be able to work together or not at all.
Yeah. Yep. It's a tricky balance, but we do it.
Yeah, it can be hard managing tattooers' egos because we've all got them, whether we like to admit it or not. But
yeah, well, I have to say that's probably the secret of the success of the current crew that I have, is that there's really not much of that at all.
That's amazing.
Yeah, that's just out the window. Like, we're all just nerds or, you know, just social dysfunctional people. Like, they're just there is just no ego in our studio at the moment. It's really easy to go to work every day.
Oh, wow.
And I love that feeling where you feel like you could go in your pajamas and no one would bat an eyelid. Do you know what I mean?
That's
just
the best.
No one cares. All we care about is the tattooing. This, you know, and just looking at what each other does, and yeah, that's all we care about, is that's our connection with each other. Yeah.
I love that when you're in a studio where everyone's looking at each other's work and enjoying each other's work. That's just like, that's the best feeling ever.
Yeah, well, weirdly enough, another great thing that came out of the fire that we had is that we all had to move downstairs. So I think there were 7 of us or 8 of us. I'm sorry, I'm really bad at remembering that. We were all tattooing sort of in the same space and really closely. And because usually I'm upstairs in my own room, and so was Chantel and Allegra and Swazi, but we all converged downstairs for a few months, and it really bonded us. But now we're separating again because we're ready to be apart again.
I think customers enjoy it too when there's a good relationship between the tattooers. Like, it makes them feel more comfortable and safe to come in as well. And like, you know, when a another tattooer comes up to them and goes, oh, I really love the tattoo you've just got. It really like enforces for them that, oh yeah, like I made the right decision with this life-changing thing that I've just done to my body.
They love it. And also, you might be able to relate to this. The upstairs level of Trailer Trash is all girls. And it didn't intend to be that way. It just evolved that way. And it's been so great. Like a lot of our, well, not just female customers, a lot of our customers just feel so relaxed and just, yeah, I mean, there was no ego anyway, but there's definitely no ego in the, you know, when you're just, I don't know, it's been so good and just so easy.
Yeah.
Do you have any comment on that? Is that a tricky subject?
No, like I think it does change the dynamic. Like in the last year I was at STR, I worked with three guys, who were amazing, and there wasn't any issues with them at all. Like I absolutely loved working with them. But then when I came and opened FLT, I had no intention of like hiring only like female identifying people, but that's just what happened. And even though I loved working with these boys, working with just the girls for a while, it was actually like really a welcome change. Like, again, I don't judge people on their gender or anything like that, but it just was different. Like, you know, being able to come to work and not really worry about what I was wearing, how I looked. I could talk about menstruating and like PMS and all of those things that I felt awkward talking in front of other people about. But then suddenly it was just like everything's on the table. And then it was like there were no walls anymore, like talking about all kinds of personal things. Like there's no such thing as too much information anymore. We're just so comfortable. And that made our customers more comfortable as well. And so even though now we've got Paul working with us, like it still hasn't changed. Like he's just fit into that thing, like that, I guess, new vibe where it's just all about being yourself, being comfortable, being honest, and not competing, not trying to have this like weird bravado or anything like that. And it's made coming to work so much more pleasant.
Amazing. And it is a tricky subject though, because I think you actually used to get asked that a lot before you had, is it Paul? Before you had Paul there? Yeah, it is a tricky subject. And like I was saying, to be honest, it was really refreshing going back downstairs and working with all the guys again as well.
Yeah.
So I'm the same. It doesn't matter. I don't care. It's your personality that's the clincher.
Absolutely.
It doesn't matter. But
people really grasp onto it though. Like we were always like, oh, you're the girl shop, aren't you? And I'd just be like, no, we're the tattoo shop.
Yes.
We happen to identify as women, but we are tattooers. Tattooers first and foremost. None of the other stuff matters. But people would really like get funny about it. Like we had one guy who cancelled a full day appointment when he found out there was no men here because he didn't feel comfortable being tattooed when there were no men around.
Whoa.
Yeah, and we had...
I don't know, but I mean, I guess you can't judge though, can you? Because maybe that's a valid feeling that someone has. I don't know.
It's really interesting that like that toxic masculinity, that idea of like he could not trust women to do as good a job as men. And because the way he worded it, that's what it had actually come down to.
Right.
And like I do find that I've had a few incidents like that where it's like people were shocked that, like, you know, they would often ask me if my husband was running the studio with me, like as if I couldn't do it without a man behind me, or any, like, I don't know, like, well, I'm safe in my world and I'm not judged based on my gender. I'm only judged on my abilities. You know, it's interesting, people who are outside my little social circle coming in and being like, oh, why aren't there boys here? Like, you know, it's a different tattoo shop. Like, it's just a tattoo shop. You know, no one questions whether it's okay for a woman to go and get tattooed at a shop where only men are working. But then we would always be like, oh, are men allowed to get tattooed at your shop because there's only female tattooers? I'm like, of course, everyone is welcome here. you're all safe, you're all welcome, please come, but please treat us with respect. But yeah.
I know that feeling really well, but I guess I'm kind of shocked that that is still happening so much. When I started tattooing, because I was only 20, so I looked like I was 10. Like, I was so young. The people that walked in the shop, I think it was probably women too, probably, they wouldn't take me seriously. They'd be like, oh, I was one of the guys here you talk to. So it was a combination of me being female and young.
Yeah.
So I get the inexperienced thing. Yeah, I'm a bit shocked that that's still a thing.
Yeah.
I don't really come across it anymore myself, but I wonder if that's just because you're the same though. I just have a zero patience for that at all. And I think I put that vibe out there so strongly. Yeah. And because I've been in the industry so long, I'm really confident with people who are going to act like that, and they just don't last very long around me, I suppose.
I think the way that we come across on social media, we attract the kind of customers who are going to treat us with respect. Like, I think when they take a look at our work or our social media or whatever, like, they know that they're not going to get away with that, like on my bio, it's #feminist, so they know that it's not going to fly here. But and that's where I can't tell if it's happening less or it's just that I'm not attracting those kind of clientele anymore. But like, I remember the first time I really noticed the difference. Like, I always knew that, I was always asked if I was the receptionist and all that. But I remember one time I went to a customer with a design and they were like, this is terrible. I want this and this and this changed. And I explained to them from a technical point of view why these things wouldn't work as a tattoo and what we would do instead and what their options were. And they were like, no, I want what I want. And then my colleague, Drew, came over and repeated exactly what I said. And they were like, oh yeah. And he just turned around to me and was like, what the hell? Like, yep, that's what it's like.
Yeah, I'm sure it probably still. Yeah, I mean, let's get into it. I feel like the tattoo industry is still where females are still very underrepresented in this industry. So I suppose that's kind of related. It's all connected, isn't it?
Yeah, that's why I wanted to do this, because I've been in isolation. I've been listening to podcasts, and there's some amazing podcasts out there that I've really enjoyed, like tattoo themed ones. But the vast majority of the people who are being spoken to are white, cishet men. Like, it's bro culture, and I can't relate to that. And it's great that they've got a platform, but we would also like a platform.
Yeah, thank you, Eddy. That's awesome. It's always been something that's really bothered me in this industry. I remember the first tattoo convention I went to, they had a press conference at the beginning of it, which is weird. I didn't know they did that. But they had a panel and there was media there and stuff. And there were 10 people on the panel representing the tattoo convention, not a single female on the panel. And I just was watching this thinking, what? There's nothing for me here. And anyway, even now, it really irks me. There's so many things like, art shows, for example, tattoo art shows and they're not like meant to be a particular thing, but you'll see a lineup of 40 artists, tattoo artists, and maybe there's 1 or 2 females on there. I mean, what's with that?
Yeah, it's like you've got your token woman to shut them up.
Yeah,
but yeah.
Well, I mean, if you have to go out of your way and represent fairly, if you don't know any female tattooers that you can invite, if your circle of friends is all male and you're organising this art show or whatever, well, go to some trouble and get some more females on there, because like, why wouldn't you? Yeah, it's just weird. It's weird to me.
We need to be more inclusive. Like, it's the only way to make people feel more comfortable and safe. And I think as well, like, the more inclusive we strive to be, the less we're going to see issues with abuse. and stuff in the tattoo community, be that of artists or clients?
Oh,
All right.
wow, that sounds like a can of worms that I don't know about.
Yeah, let's not go down that route. But yeah, but I feel like there are some conventions, like going back to the convention thing, like there are some where they're trying to be more inclusive. Like we both love the New Zealand Tattoo and Art Festival, because that does, as a woman there, I don't feel objectified. And same as Literary Ink in Chattanooga in Tennessee. Like that was one, it was probably the most inclusive and safe convention I've ever seen in my life.
Wow, it looks amazing.
Mm.
So cool. Yeah, I've never thought about feeling objectified, but maybe that's because I'm usually like with my trailer all trashed up. Maybe I objectify myself in some weird way. So I don't know.
You're in your little bubble. Cute.
Yeah. Yeah, it's, I don't know. The pendulum has swung so far on one side for all of humanity.
Yeah.
If it swings a little bit too much this way for a while, that's the way it's meant to be, maybe, so that things can come back here. Yeah. But if it has to swing a bit this way for women for a while, it's because it's swung that way.
Yeah, I think that's the only way to achieve true equity anyway. Like, you can't just suddenly turn around after years of like, you know, inequality and oppression and whatnot and just be like, okay, now we're going to treat everyone equally. No, you've got to like first raise women up, raise trans and non-binary people up, and give everyone an equal footing to then start from and to go from there. And yeah, I'm seeing more and more groups generally, but in tattooing, where they're actually fighting for space and for a platform to say, no, I'm going to be heard from now on.
Wow. Sounds amazing.
It does. Let's hope that, like, you know, in 20 years' time, like, people coming into the industry are all treated with much more kindness and equality and not mistaken for a receptionist.
It's hard to imagine, what the tattoo industry would be like in 20 years' time, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I guess that would be a good question to finish on. Like, what would you like want to impart on future tattooers, or even like people recently coming into the industry, like from your 20 years of experience and seeing things change so much? Like, what would you love to see people bringing into it moving forward?
Well, firstly, I guess I'd have to comment that my 20 years is a drop in the ocean. I feel like I'm only halfway to earning some kind of a respect as being like a, whatever you want to think of it. Because I look up to tattooers who've been tattooing for 40, 50 years, and they're the people who I go, wow, you've paved the way. So I don't feel like 20 years is anything. Yeah. But anyway, what would I impart? Just to respect the people who've gone before you, and to understand that, and that I can't relate to the newer generations. I just can't, because I didn't even have a mobile phone until I was 25. Like, I'd already been tattooing 5 years, so there was no Google or anything like that. Yeah, it's really hard for me to relate to the younger generations or people who are coming into tattooing. But I guess, what it just comes down to is just be passionate about it. Just be obsessed with it and love it. Otherwise, just don't bother.
It's almost like I don't know, a kick in the back or something when they don't love it.
Well, yeah, I mean, don't want to judge anyone, but you know, I just think if you love and are passionate enough about something, then you will research it properly and treat it with the care that it deserves.
Yeah.
You know, this craft that has been handed down person to person needs to be kept and treated really carefully and gently and with respect. And that could mean so many things.
Yeah.
But I don't know, just stay connected and stay connected to your pencil and your paper as well, and not just your iPad maybe.
Absolutely.
As well.
You do like get a disconnect with the iPad. I think like I was using iPad almost exclusively for about a year. Like I just kind of eventually slowly went over to that, and then in isolation started sketching in my sketchbook again. And it was just like, I guess because it's so much more tactile and there's like a transfer of energy or something, and just the feeling of the tooth of the paper under your pencil. There's something special about that we should definitely never lose.
Oh, don't get me started on the iPad. All it's done is confused my brain. I got one, I think it was probably just over a year ago, and what has happened to me is exactly what I thought would happen. Now I'm just stuck in like a limbo between two worlds, because you're right. I feel like you need to just work on the iPad for a long time to master it or to be any good at it. To just dabble in it, like I really can hardly do anything on it. But if I'm on the iPad for a prolonged amount of time, I'm so disconnected from painting and drawing that it's really hard to get back into that.
Yeah.
So to do both is really hard and confusing.
Yeah. I think there's definitely a place for both, but I think if it's possible, like not losing a connection with just pencil and paper, I think will help people and their art making so much more.
I guess so, but I would never want anyone to feel like I'm judgy or like have a preconceived idea of what an artist should be either.
Yeah.
You write your own book when it comes to that, but I guess I can only just say from my own sort of perspective. Maybe that's my advice to myself. I don't know if I can give anyone any advice. That would seem like I'm some kind of a like I know what I'm doing.
We're all just like chickens with our heads chopped off, running around trying to figure shit out.
Pretty much.
Oh, it's been so good talking to you.
Thank you, Eddy. It's been great even just to see your face and have a chat too, because I don't really talk to many people nowadays.
Yeah, thank you. I think the last time I saw you was in New Zealand last year.
Yeah, well, we'll see if it's on again this year. Were you booked to go?
Yeah, I was. I was going to take some of the crew as well this time, and I hope I can. But
it's going to be November, but yeah, I mean, I think we'll be lucky if it is on. Hey.
Yeah. If not, it'll happen again.
I was meant to be tattooing in Melbourne last weekend too, so I'm wondering if our borders will reopen, but I don't want them to reopen until it's safe though.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, part of you is like desperate to be able to travel and do all the things you used to do, but then you're kind of like, people's safety is actually more important right now.
Yeah, I'm not. I'd rather just stay here in my office and paint every day. I feel bad because I've still got, deposits from 20 people who have booked in with me in Melbourne. So it's just that's why I feel bad. And I'm going to get down there. So.
Yeah, you'll get there eventually.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for including me in your amazing podcast, and I wish you all success in the world with this, Eddy. It's a really great way to reinvent the Not Just a Girl concept. And, I'm really grateful that we, in Australia, we have you as our icon for that, and you've really become that for us, and you've become a real leader and someone who inspires and it's really important. And just, I have to say, you're really brave as well for doing that.
I just feel like I'm doing what I need to do, like just want to uplift other women, other people, like just want to do my bit to make tattooing happier and safer.
Yeah, well, it's amazing that you feel that calling and that you're acting on it, because that does take a lot of bravery to physically go out and do something about it. And, you know, we owe you a lot for that, so thank you.
Oh, I don't think so. See, I feel like, you know, it's women like you paving the way, like inspiring, you know, my generation to tattoo, is like, we owe you all our gratitude.
Well, thank you. And I love you too.
Well, just to our listeners, if you'd like to check out the footage, you can see our YouTube channel. You can follow us on Instagram at notjustagirl_tattoo for regular updates. In the show notes, I'll link all of Mimsy's details and Trailer Trash details so that you can see their wonderful work. Please subscribe, follow and share and help spread the love of tattooing. Huge thank you to the wonderful Mimsy for joining us today and sharing your story. Yeah, like I really appreciate you coming on. I really appreciate everyone for listening. So thank you so much. I love you, Mimsy.
Love you. Thank you. Thank you.